Across the globe, every monster has a fatal flaw that keeps them at bay. Vampires fear garlic. So what do Japanese demons fear? In older Japanese folk tradition, seasonal rituals used things like thrown beans or holly and sardine charms to drive away evil. But in Demon Slayer, the flower demon's fear is something much quieter: Wisteria. So why this flower? Why did the story choose Wisteria not just as a weapon, but as a symbol? Today, I want to explore that question through Japanese history, color symbolism, and the idea of sacred boundaries. First, let's look at the historical layer. In Japanese, Wisteria is called Fuji, and in the Heian period, the world associated with Muzan's human origin, the most powerful name in politics was the Fujiwara clan. Through marriage alliances and regency, the Fujiwara held enormous influence at the center of the imperial court for generations, and Wisteria itself became deeply tied to their name, image, and crest traditions. And this opens up an interesting interpretation. Muzan was born frail, always living beside the fear of death. So what if that weakness made him resent not only his body, but even the world of birth and lineage itself? In the Heian world, the family you were born into carried enormous weight. And at the top of that order stood the side associated with the name Fuji. Now, the series never directly says that Muzan consciously hates Wisteria because of the Fujiwara. But once we understand that Wisteria was not just a flower, it carried aristocratic and courtly associations, its role in the story starts to feel heavier than simple poison. In that reading, what Muzan rejects may not be the flower alone, but the whole world that never saved him and never truly accepted him. There is a fascinating legend from the Heian period that might give us a clue. While the author has never officially confirmed it, many fans and scholars notice striking similarities between Muzan and a legendary figure named Shuten-Doji, the most feared king of demons in Japanese history. Much like Muzan, Shuten-Doji lived in a mountain hideout with his subordinates. He frequently descended upon the capital to kidnap and devour young women, as it was believed that consuming humans would grant him eternal life. To stop this reign of terror, the emperor ordered the legendary hero Minamoto no Yorimitsu and his brave retainers to hunt him down. What's even more intriguing is their origin. Though stories vary, Shuten-Doji is often said to have been a human who became a monster after his overwhelming power spun out of control. This human-turned-demon archetype mirrors Muzan's own tragic and twisted beginning. Was Muzan inspired by this ancient king of demons? We can only speculate, but the parallels are impossible to ignore. Because monsters like Shuten-Doji were so real to the people of the Heian-era, swords alone weren't enough. They needed a spiritual shield. The next key idea is boundary. In Shinto, Shimenawa marks the line between sacred space and the ordinary outside world. It tells you that beyond this point, the space is different. Of course, Wisteria is not literally Shimenawa, but visually it can create a very similar feeling. Its hanging clusters look almost like a curtain made by nature itself. Even without a wall, it feels as if there is a line you are not meant to cross. And in Demon Slayer, that is exactly how Wisteria functions. Demons are not only harmed by it, they are kept out by it. That is why Wisteria feels like more than poison. It feels like a sign telling demons this world is not yours. Color matters too. In the Heian period, purple was strongly associated with nobility and rank. It was a prestigious color tied to elite status, and Wisteria blooms in that same purple. So when we see Wisteria in Demon Slayer, we may be feeling more than danger. We may also be feeling order, refinement, and dignity. Demons cross boundaries. They invade homes, destroy families, and violate the human world. Wisteria represents the opposite mood: beauty, restraint, and quiet refusal. That contrast is part of what makes the flower so memorable. It is not just something that hurts demons, it points to a world they can never truly belong to. So Wisteria is not just a fantasy rule. In Demon Slayer, the flower gains power because it sits at the intersection of Japanese history, ritual, color, and the idea of boundary. It can suggest power, nobility, and exclusion all at once. And that may be why it feels so unforgettable in the story. So the next time Wisteria appears on screen, try seeing it as more than just a demon-repellent flower. If there is another anime symbol you want me to decode next, let me know in the comments.